10 silent red flags in Muslim marriages no one talks about. Save your marriage now. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Every nikah begins with love, with hope, with the dream of sakinah, tranquility between two souls. We stand before Allah. We say, Kabul too, I accept, believing that this bond will last forever. But divorce does not happen in a single moment. It does not appear suddenly like a storm. No, divorce creeps in silently, through unattended wounds, through unspoken resentment, through habits that start small but grow into emotional walls. And by the time many couples realize it, it is already too late. In today's documentary, presented under the guidance of Malam Gigi, we uncover 10 silent red flags in a Muslim marriage before divorce happens. These are not loud fights. These are not physical abuses. These are quiet signs that most husbands and wives ignore until the marriage is beyond repair. If you are married, listen carefully. If you are engaged, take notes. If you are divorced, reflect and heal. And if you are not yet married, learn now before life teaches you the hard way. Because the Prophet said, the most hated permissible act to Allah is divorce. Sunan Abi Dawud 21:77. Divorce is allowed, but never loved. So let us recognize the danger before reaching that point. Red flag number 1. When communication turns cold and silence becomes normal. The first sign that a Muslim marriage is drifting toward divorce is not shouting. It is silence. Not the peaceful type of silence, but the silence of distance. Once upon a time, both husband and wife would talk for hours, even about small things. Now, conversations are reduced to, did you eat? The food is on the table. Kids are sleeping. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. No laughter. No curiosity. No heart in the words. Just information, like two strangers sharing the same house. In Islam, Allah reminds us, and He placed between you affection and mercy. Quran, Surah Ar-Rum 30:21. But when communication dies, affection disappears. Mercy dries up. The relationship does not break with an explosion. It fades away silently. Scenario example. A husband comes home. His wife barely looks up. He lies down scrolling his phone. They are in the same room, but different worlds. No, how was your day? No, are you okay? No, I missed you. And each one thinks, why should I talk when they don't? If they cared, they would speak first. This is the beginning of emotional divorce, long before legal divorce happens. If communication has become cold in your marriage, don't wait for it to heal by itself. It won't. Talk, even when you don't feel like talking. Listen, even when you disagree. Because once silence becomes comfortable, divorce becomes inevitable. Red flag number 2. When you stop making dua for each other. In the beginning of marriage, every husband and wife prays for one another. May Allah protect him on his journey. May Allah increase her in faith. Ya Allah, bless our home and our children. But slowly, as hurt builds, as disappointment settles, the heart becomes dry. Now, when he raises his hands in dua, he mentions everyone except his wife. When she cries in sujud, she prays for her parents, children, friends, but not her husband. Not out of hatred, but out of emotional disconnection. The Prophet said, the dua of a Muslim for his brother in his absence is accepted. Sahih Muslim. Now imagine, if praying for a stranger is beloved to Allah, how much more reward when you pray for your spouse? And yet, when dua stops, mercy stops. When mercy stops, love dries up. And when love dries up, divorce silently begins. Scenario example. A husband once used to pray, Ya Allah, bless my wife with peace of heart. Now he says, Ya Allah, you know what she's doing to me. A wife once prayed, Ya Rab, make him a leader of righteousness. Now she says nothing, not even anger, just silence. When you no longer make dua for each other, it is a sign that Shaitan has already entered the space between you. If your marriage is in danger, start here. Even if you're upset, even if you feel wronged, even if your spouse never knows, say one sincere dua for them. Because sometimes, one prayer can heal what 1,000 arguments could not. Red flag number 3. When you start comparing your spouse to someone else. Serious, cautionary narration tone. Comparison is one of the most silent destroyers of a marriage. It doesn't begin with cheating. It begins with imagination. A husband sees another woman being kind, soft-spoken, respectful, and thinks, "Why can't my wife be like her?" A wife sees another man speaking gently to his wife in public and whispers inside, "Why is my husband not like that?" They don't say it out loud. They don't discuss it. But comparison settles like poison inside the heart. In Islam, the Prophet warned us, "Look at those below you in worldly matters, not those above you, for that will prevent you from belittling the favors of Allah." Sahih Muslim, when you constantly compare your spouse to others, you become blind to their good qualities. You forget why you chose them in the first place. Scenario example. A wife compliments another sister's husband. "MashaAllah, he cooks for her." Her own husband hears it, and suddenly, that one sentence becomes a dagger inside him. He feels unappreciated, not good enough. Or, a husband jokes, "That sister at the masjid is more polite. You should learn from her." That cheap comparison will echo in her heart for years. The truth is, someone else will always seem better from a distance. But when you get close, you will find their faults too. If comparison begins, divorce is not far. Stop looking at others. Start appreciating what Allah has given you. Because the one you compare against today might not be able to tolerate you either. Red flag number 4. When you share your problems with everyone except your spouse. Emotionally intense but controlled narration tone. Once upon a time, your spouse was the first person you ran to when life became heavy. You didn't need to think twice. You shared your fears, your pain, your stress, your dreams. But now, you speak to friends, parents, co-workers, even strangers online. Yet your spouse, the one who promised to be your companion, is left in the dark. Listen carefully. The moment someone outside your marriage becomes your emotional home, divorce has already begun in secret. It may not be physical betrayal, but emotional betrayal can be even more destructive. Scenario example. A wife tells her best friend about every fight she has with her husband. The friend now hates the husband more than she does. A husband complains to his mother about every small issue at home. Now the mother sees the wife as an enemy. And worst of all, neither spouse knows what the other truly feels because they're busy speaking to everyone except each other. In Islam, there is wisdom. The believer is not one who exposes the faults of his family. When you share your private marital issues outside, you are not solving them. You are broadcasting them. Yes, seek advice when needed, but seek it from wise people, not from emotional gossipers. A scholar, a counselor, a mature elder, not social media, not WhatsApp groups, not friends who say leave him every 5 minutes. If your heart no longer confides in your spouse, make a change before someone else replaces them in your heart. Red flag number 5. When respect leaves the conversation, a marriage can survive disagreement. It can survive misunderstanding. It can even survive anger. But the moment respect is lost, the marriage is already dying. Not every fight destroys a relationship, but how you fight, that determines whether love survives. In Islam, respect between spouses is not optional. The Prophet said, "The best of you are those who are best to their wives." Tirmidhi. And likewise, a believing wife honors and uplifts her husband, not humiliates him. Signs that respect is fading, raising your voice just to win, mocking or making sarcastic comments, interrupting every sentence, rolling your eyes in public, calling each other stupid, useless, or worse, using sacred secrets as weapons during arguments, speaking kindly to strangers, but harshly to your spouse. Scenario example. A husband argues with his wife. Instead of addressing the issue, he says, "You're just like your mother. No wonder nobody can stand you." Or a wife shouts, "You call yourself a man? Even my brother is better." One sentence, one moment of disrespect, but its wound can last a lifetime. You may apologize, you may say you didn't mean it, but once spoken, those words settle in the heart. Respect lost rarely returns. If you are watching this and realize this is happening in my home, then before praying tahajjud, before asking Allah to fix your marriage, fix your tongue, because Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change themselves. Red flag number 6. When money becomes a secret, trust in marriage is not only about love. It is also about transparency. When husband and wife begin to hide money from each other or secretly spend without agreement, the silent cracks of divorce begin to appear. In Islam, wealth is a trust amana. Allah tells us, men are the protectors and maintainers of women. Surah An-Nisa 4:34. This means a husband must provide, but also with justice and clarity. And a wife, too, is encouraged to be honest with her spending. But what happens when money becomes a weapon? A husband hides his true income from his wife, that a wife secretly sends money away without telling her husband. Loans are taken in secret. Properties are bought in silence. Or, worse, when wealth is used to control, punish, or manipulate. Scenario example. A wife finds out her husband has built a house she never knew about. Or a husband discovers his wife has been taking loans in his name. The betrayal is not only financial, it is emotional. Because money represents trust. And without trust, marriage becomes an empty contract. Malam Gigi reminds us, in Islam, transparency with wealth is an act of worship. The Prophet said, the dinar you spend on your family is the greatest in reward. Muslim, notice he did not say the dinar you hide, but the one you spend openly, sincerely, and with love. So remember, when money becomes a secret, hearts begin to separate, and divorce silently comes closer. Red flag number 7. When emotional needs are ignored, not every marriage ends because of shouting. Some end because of silence. A husband may provide a house, food, clothing, but ignore his wife's heart. A wife may cook, clean, and fulfill duties, but neglect her husband's emotional struggles. In Islam, marriage is not only physical, it is emotional mercy. Allah describes marriage in the Quran, and He placed between you love and mercy. Surah Ar-Rum 30:21. Love is for happiness. Mercy is for pain. When your spouse stops sharing feelings with you, when they start talking more to friends or strangers than to you, that is a loud, silent warning. Signs of emotional neglect in a Muslim marriage. Your spouse looks sad, but you no longer ask, what's wrong? You live together, but no longer laugh together. Your conversations have become only about responsibilities, never about dreams. One of you cries silently at night because you feel unseen. Malam Gigi often says, a good Muslim is not only one who prays, but one who listens. The Prophet was the busiest man on earth, a leader, teacher, warrior, and messenger. Yet, he still sat, listened, and comforted his wives. So ask yourself today, when was the last time you truly asked your spouse how they feel? When was the last time you comforted them instead of correcting them? When was the last time you looked into their eyes and said, I am here for you? Because when emotional needs are ignored, hearts begin to search elsewhere, and divorce becomes only a matter of time. Red flag number 8. When intimacy becomes a duty, not a delight, let's speak honestly. Some marriages don't break in public. They crack in private. When physical intimacy becomes cold, forced, or avoided, it is no longer a connection. It becomes a barrier. In Islam, intimacy between husband and wife is not shameful. It is worship. The Prophet said, in the intimate relations of one of you, there is sadaqah, charity. Sahih Muslim, why? Because pleasing your spouse is an act of love, and love is an act of faith. But when intimacy begins to fade, it often shows in subtle ways. One spouse dreads the night instead of looking forward to it. Touch feels obligatory, not affectionate. Compliments disappear. Attraction is no longer expressed. Even sitting close becomes rare. Some couples sleep in the same bed, but live in different worlds. And let's be clear, intimacy is not just physical. It is how you speak, how you look at each other, how you make your spouse feel desired, valued, chosen. A marriage without romance turns into roommates. A marriage without desire becomes distant. Mawaddah Gigi once said, "If you do not feed your marriage with affection, someone else will try to feed it with temptation." So ask yourself, does your spouse still feel beautiful/handsome in your eyes? Do you flirt with your spouse or ignore them? Do you rush through intimacy or cherish it? Because when intimacy becomes a burden instead of a blessing, the heart begins to withdraw and distance slowly replaces devotion. Red flag number 9. When money becomes a weapon, they say love is tested most in 2 places, the bedroom and the wallet. And many marriages don't end because of poverty. They end because of financial disrespect. In Islam, money has rules, but ego breaks them. Allah made the husband responsible for providing with dignity, not with arrogance. Men are the protectors and maintainers of women. Quran 4:34. But today, some husbands control money like a jail warden, giving just enough to survive but never enough to breathe. Some wives hide money, building secret accounts not for savings but for escape. Financial abuse comes in many forms. When your spouse has to beg to buy basic needs, that is not leadership, that is humiliation. When expenses are used as a weapon in arguments, "I paid for this, so you must listen to me," that is control, not care. When one partner spends freely on themselves, but questions every naira or dollar the other uses, that is inequality, not partnership. Marriage is not mine versus yours, it's ours. Even the Prophet Muhammad used to consult his wives about spending. Even when he barely had anything, he still asked, not imposed. Mawaddah Gigi once said, "A marriage where money is hidden is a marriage where trust is stolen." Ask yourself, do you discuss money or argue about it? Is your provision given with love or thrown with resentment? Are you saving together or secretly protecting yourself from each other? Because when money becomes a battlefield, love becomes the casualty. Red flag number 10. When outsiders begin to control the marriage. A marriage is supposed to be between 2 people, but sometimes 10 people are living inside it. Parents interfering, friends whispering, siblings influencing, even random social media quotes being used as evidence in arguments. In Islam, marriage has boundaries. Yes, parents deserve respect. Yes, scholars and elders deserve consultation. But Allah did not give your mother or your best friend permission to run your marriage. The Prophet said, "The best of you are those who are best to their spouses, not best to their friends while ignoring their spouses." Signs that outsiders are ruining the marriage. You complain to friends more than you communicate with your spouse. Every disagreement turns into, "Let me call my mother." Instead of solving problems inside the home, one partner runs to outsiders for validation. Advice is good. Interference is deadly. Mawaddah Gigi's reminder. If you need someone else to control your spouse for you, then maybe you were not ready for marriage in the first place. The Quranic formula for conflict. Allah teaches us in Surah An-Nisa 4:35. If you fear a breach between them, appoint an arbiter from his family and an arbiter from hers. Notice, one from each side. Balanced, neutral, wise, not Twitter influencers, not gossiping relatives, not tribal loyalists. Protect your marriage like a secret treasure. Because when outsiders begin to enter your marriage, love begins to exit. Bonus red flag. When spiritual connection dies. Some marriages fall apart, not because of arguments, not because of money, not even because of infidelity, but simply because Allah was no longer present between them. A marriage without Allah is just a contract, not a covenant. When a couple used to pray together, but now, far is late, or not prayed at all. Quran was once recited in the home, now replaced with Netflix. Dua was once made for each other, now complaints are made about each other. Then no, the soul of the marriage is fading. When the heart stops turning to Allah, it turns against each other. Instead of seeking patience, one seeks revenge. Instead of forgiving, they start calculating past sins. Instead of saying, "May Allah guide us," they say, "Maybe I made a mistake marrying you." Mawaddah Gigi once said, "No couple that stands together before Allah will fall before the people." reviving spiritual intimacy. Even if love feels distant, even if arguments feel endless, there's one rope stronger than any conflict. Holding hands and saying, let's pray 2 rak'ah together. Not a lecture, not a debate, not a punishment, just prayer. Because it is impossible to make sujud together and still walk away with pride and ego. Never let shaitan be the third in your marriage. If Allah is between you, mercy will grow. If shaitan is between you, suspicion will brew. The turning point. Can this marriage be saved? Hopeful, steady tone. We have spoken about red flags. But now, let's speak about redemption. Because in Islam, no marriage is doomed unless both hearts give up. Before divorce, there must be diagnosis. A doctor does not amputate a limb without first treating it. Likewise, Allah does not love divorce, but He allows it only after every door of reconciliation has been tried. So before saying, it's over, ask, have we truly tried to fix it, or have we only tried to win? The Quranic blueprint for healing a marriage. Allah gives us a 3-step strategy in Surah An-Nisa 4:34-35. Private discussion, sit, talk, and be honest, without shouting, without blame. Temporary space or reset. Sometimes distance cools the fire, but separation should be for reflection, not revenge. Involve wise mediators, not gossipers, not biased relatives, not instigators, but a fair elder from each side, whose goal is reconciliation, not victory. Emotional maturity before logical solutions. You cannot fix communication if ego is still speaking. You cannot rebuild trust if past offenses are used like weapons. You cannot revive intimacy if resentment is still alive. So before trying to fix the marriage, fix yourself first. Malam Gigi's reminder. Don't ask for a better spouse until you have become a better spouse. The question every couple must ask, are we fighting each other or fighting for each other? Because if you're willing to fight for the marriage, then Allah can still bless it. The action plan. How to reconnect hearts before it's too late. Now that we've identified the red flags, it's time to talk solutions. Not just emotional advice, but practical Islamic steps any couple can take starting today. Step 1. Replace blame with confession. Before saying you never, try saying, I realize I haven't. Instead of you don't care about me, say, I've also failed to appreciate you enough. Instead of you're always angry, say, maybe I haven't made you feel safe to speak calmly. In Islam, the one who admits first is not weak, they are wise. Step 2. Rebuild with small, consistent acts. Don't wait for big gestures. Start with little mercies. Greet each other properly. The Prophet said even a smile is charity. Say, Jazakallahu khairan, or thank you. Gratitude softens even hardened hearts. Make tea for your spouse without being asked. Send a random dua message during the day. Consistency melts ice, not one-time apologies. Step 3. Pray together, even if just 2 rak'ah. If talking feels hard, then pray silently side by side. When a husband and wife hold hands and make dua together, Allah looks at them with mercy. Hadith, paraphrased with meaning. You may not solve every problem overnight, but when you kneel before Allah together, your hearts stop kneeling to anger. Step 4. Establish your marriage rules. Sit together and agree on. We will never insult each other, even in anger. We will not involve outsiders unless necessary. We will not sleep angry without at least saying salam or good night. We will take breaks during arguments, not throw weapons. A marriage without rules becomes a battlefield. Step 5. Renew love intentionally, not accidentally. Dress nicely for each other, not just for strangers. Give compliments. Even awkward ones are better than silence that go for a walk together without phones. Use gentle names like Habibi or my queen/my king. Even if it feels weird in the beginning, do it until it feels natural. Because marriage dies when effort dies. Malam Gigi's powerful advice. If shaitan is working 24/7 to break your marriage, why are you only putting effort once a month to fix it? A dua for broken marriages and healing. Hearts, before we conclude this journey, Let's lift our hands. Because no matter how broken a marriage may seem, no heart is too hard for Allah to soften. No distance is too far for Him to close. Recite after me, slowly, with sincerity, Ya Allah, the turner of hearts, the healer of wounds, the one who knows what we hide and what we show. If my marriage is broken, repair it. If my heart is hardened, soften it. If my spouse is distant, bring them closer in goodness. Remove pride from our hearts. Remove shaitan from between us. Replace bitterness with mercy. Replace silence with understanding. Replace pain with patience. O Allah, bless our home with your nur. Fill it with love, forgiveness, and sakinah, tranquility. Make us garments for one another, as you promised in your holy book. And if I am at fault, guide me to admit it. And if they are hurting, guide me to heal them. Ya Allah, do not let our marriage end in anger, but let it rise again in your mercy. Ameen. Even if you couldn't say it aloud, let your heart whisper it. Because dua is not about loudness, it's about realness. Final call to action. Save one marriage today if you have watched this far. It means you care, either for your own marriage or for someone else's. And that alone is a sign that Allah has placed concern and mercy in your heart. Don't just watch, act. Before this video ends, send a message to your spouse, even if things are not perfect. I may not say it enough, but I appreciate you. If you know a couple struggling, don't gossip, support them. Share this video with them privately and say, you're not alone and it's not too late. If you're divorced or separated, don't spread bitterness, spread wisdom. Your story might save someone else from repeating the same mistakes. To everyone watching, married, single, divorced, or widowed, support marriage. Respect marriage. Protect marriage. Because when a family breaks, the ummah weakens. Mawaddah Gigi once said, if you can save even one marriage, you may save an entire generation. Your mission, right now, before scrolling away, type, may Allah bless all struggling marriages in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. Not for algorithms, but for awareness. Let this message reach at least one person who needs it, because the next marriage saved might be your own. Conclusion, final reflection, and emotional wrap-up. Marriage is not always poetry and roses. Sometimes it is silence and storms. Sometimes two people who once promised forever now struggle to make it through today. But remember this, Allah never promised a marriage without trials, but He promised reward for those who endure with wisdom and mercy. Before you walk away, ask yourself, have I truly tried with humility, or just with ego? Did I seek help, or only seek someone to blame? Did I make dua, or did I just complain? Because miracles do not only happen in mosques. Sometimes they happen across a dinner table between two people who say, let's try again. If you're still together, hold on. If you're still married, still under the same roof, still sharing the same name, then no, Allah has not closed your chapter yet. And if you're divorced, you are not a failure. Sometimes separation is mercy. Sometimes healing requires distance. So do not let your past make you bitter. Let it make you wiser. Use your story to guide others, not to scare them. Final words from Mawaddah Gigi. A strong marriage is not one without problems. It is one where two people refuse to give up on each other. So whether you're repairing, rebuilding, or simply reflecting, may Allah grant you peace in your heart, mercy in your home, and love that grows with faith. If this message touched you, don't let it stop here. Like, comment, share, send it to someone silently struggling. Be the reason a marriage is saved. This is not just a video. This is a mission. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.